Now I'll talk about color settings in just a second, but I wanted to talk to you about your monitor screen. If you move it back and forth and the image dims at the top, then your monitor is standard and can give you color issues. Now you can calibrate your monitor using either one of like Color Monkey or Spider, but this means you're going to spend about $300 to calibrate all your devices, but it will be correct as possible. If you're a photographer, restoration work, you want to make sure your monitor is calibrated. Okay, and if you just go on the internet here and go to Amazon, you can see how much the price. So X-Rights 219, Color Monkey 449, Spider. You can look at the reviews, which will give you more insight to each one and why you probably want to choose that one or the other. And also, you probably would be interested in this color checker because you can put this in a photo and color correct. So, for example, if you were taking photo shots and you put this in one of the photos, then if you have any color cache, you can click on the color to correct it. Real nice. So let me go ahead and close this. Now, that being said, probably most people who buy Photoshop Elements don't have the time or the money to calibrate their monitor. So I would suggest maybe if you can, get a DSLR camera that allows for raw photo capturing, which I'll explain how to use in the Camera Raw tutorial, which I believe is next. I had my camera in Adobe 1998. I changed it to sRGB, which is a more restrictive color space, not a wise idea, but it worked for me, and I made sure that my Photoshop Elements was also in sRGB, and I left the color management to Photoshop Elements. You never want to leave your color management to your printer. Now, I can do a side note on that. If it works for you the other way, then it works. Then use it. Okay? So how do we look at color settings? If you go to Edit, Color Settings, it brings up this nice little dialog and it says no color management. You never, ever, 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 ever want to have that. Unless you're a photographer and you don't want anything messing around with it, you might want to choose this option, but I would more likely never have that, never choose that selection, excuse me. This is the one I have it for. Always optimize colors for the computer screen because I'm usually using the internet and web for most of the photographs. But it says here computer screens are capable of reproducing all the colors within the sRGB color range. This setting will keep all the colors you see on the screen within that range, ensuring the accurate display for any device that supports the sRGB color space of which I've set my camera to. Now, if you're printing a lot, you can always choose this option, okay, which now your colors will be within the RGB, or excuse me, will be within the Adobe RGB color space commonly used for printing images. Or if you want, you can choose Allow Me to choose. But at least choose one of these. Try not to use no color management, okay? And when you're finally ready for printing, you want to make sure a couple of settings here. So you go File, let's say Print, which will bring up this dialog here. Let me move it in a little so you can see a little bit better. Okay, it's going to say select printer. Of course, you're going to select your printer. You have printer settings, your paper size. I'm going to go over this in detail in another tutorial, but just quickly, select the type of print, individual prints, blah, blah, blah. But then over here it says more options. Click on more options and go to color management. Color management. Color handling. Photoshop Elements manages my color, not my printer. Photoshop Elements manages my color. My image space is sRGB as I've told you. Yours may not be, that's okay. For me, this works. Your printer profile, Adobe RGB 1998. Rendering intent, you can choose one. I usually leave it at relative color metric. Okay, and then I like Photoshop Elements. It says this. Did you remember to disable color management in the printer preference dialog? Oh, well, if I don't do that, then it's going to cause a nice little conflict. So let me click on printer preferences, which will bring up my dialog for the Canon. And I'll have to go to, I believe it's here, main. You go to color intensity, select manual, set. I have to go over to matching and then choose none. And then click OK, and then OK. And then it's done. So let me click OK, which will save that, and then I would go and print at that time.